The time has finally come. The 10th and final round of the third Eternal Weekend event for 2020. This is the 30th round of Magic on the weekend. We're something like 26 hours into streams. Let's see if we can't go out with a bang. I would not quantify this as a bang. Try again. Okay, this is sufficiently banging. I wanna be. Oh, we got a misstep? Did a misstep it? Got a misstep? Oh, wow, that's an aggressive Force of Negation. Pitching Force of Negation. Interesting. Yo, man. 8 months in a
Top
row. What a powerful
64
wizard.
power.
Thank you. That's a very aggressive Force of Negation, pitching Force of Negation. I wonder if that means they're a HollowVine player. Not many other decks can afford to go Force pitching, Force Negation, pitching, Force of Negation. Yeah, HollowVine. Well, a Monastery Mentor will be good against them if they don't have a Force of Will. It's pretty tough to have a Force of Will. There's only 4 of them. So they would have to have a Force of Will and a blue card in their top 10 cards. This seems doable. Obviously, if they have a Force, we just are sad days. Okay. 2 cards left in opponent's hand. I think this is a winnable game of Magic the Gathering. I also have a repeal for this Chalice, which is nice. Repeal's been beautiful this tournament. Yeah, we're gonna go just fetching up double non-basics, seeing as we have to fetch up a Tundra no matter what. Does it resolve? It resolves. All right, this game looks winnable. Opponent currently has no squeeze, so they're not activating any card advantage from their Bazaar. Obviously, they thought of a Hollow One and a Chalice, but it's really hard for Hollow One Chalice to beat Monastery Mentor, so this looks reasonable. Okay, all right, okay. Yeah, no blocks. Look at all those emotes. What a great supporter of streamers. You love to see it. All right, so what's the plan, Stan? The opponent has probably no ways in their deck to deal with a Monastery Mentor unless they're playing the Rainbow Vine version. Wasteland, that makes sense. It's the probably hits the Underground Sea, fair. Yeah, is that the new goal? Get him to discard Chalice to Bazaar? It's possible, though they're probably supposed to dig pretty aggressively for squeeze and hollow ones here. I could definitely see it happening. They have 1 card in hand. They pitched Force of Vigor, Once Upon a Time Trap. We'd kind of like to see, I like a Night's Whisper is okay there. They didn't go for. It's gonna be hard to get them to pitch this Chalice. Maybe we want to go for like an end step repeal. I don't know. You're not gonna play any spells? I don't think there's any reason to yet. They're not like, they should probably activate Bazaar to and they must have a force then. Force has gotta be the only reason you wouldn't activate Bazaar. Unless you were holding, like, a root wall to try to get a Vengevine trigger or something. There's a Vengevine. Hmm. I don't even wanna put the Chalice back in their hand in case it draws them it, like, gives them more cards to work with for their Bazaar. But we need to do something quickly because 'cause we're currently being clocked. Hopefully, they don't have mental misstep, I guess. Okay, another island is not what we want. We want spells. That works. This is pretty good. Yogwill is 2, 3 spells. So is Pio. Alright, we got there. We needed to hit a spell, and we finally hit a spell. Interesting game, I guess. The mentor is king, queen, monk. Alright, we want Sphinx of the Steel Wind, Tithing Needles, Mind Break Traps. Sorry, not Mind Break Traps. Swords and Balances. We still don't want Remora. Hercule's Recall. Cluster Storm's a little bit better versus them, but we don't need Misstep. Repeal is like only really good against. I don't want. I mean, technically this isn't bad. Whatever. We'll just keep it. What's the worst that could happen? Um, I do want. Maybe we don't need 2 repeals. Maybe we only need 1 repeal. For this Chalice deck, and then I don't really like. I'm not a super big fan of Fluster in this matchup, but it's not bad. It's probably better than this card, but we're here to jam. We're here to play that one. Maybe we'll take 1 opal out. How about that? I guess we don't actually want swords, do we? Well, they buy us time. We don't have to go all in on combo if we have swords. HollowVine plays less creatures. I think that's fine. I think this board plan is still probably fine. We have a Tinker target. It's Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Battle. Because I like Sphinx of the Steel Wind in the metagame more than I like Blightsteel. Yeah, it's colored. They lost a negation, a misstep, a strip, of force, and our hand is a mulligan. This is better. This is actually really good because I actually have my one I actually have my one Flusterstorm where this actually is really good. I actually think I'm supposed to keep the repeal just in case they go for Chalice. They can't get stripped anyways. There's actually this one Flusterstorm in this particular hand looks quite good. I guess if they just, like, play a bunch of hollow ones on turn 1, it's really bad, but if they have, like, a multi-squee draw and we needle lock them, it's pretty good. You wrecked. So, like, my opponent's deck, not the greatest example, but these decks can sometimes race a Blightsteel by going wide, but they can never race a Sphinx. They put 3 Well, I can draw balance and lose my hand. So, like, on a board like this, you could play a Blightsteel and it's never gonna win you the game. Like, I could have turn 1 Tinker and Blightsteel is never gonna win me the game, whereas if I play a Sphinx, I go to 14. A Sphinx actually survives this board and wins, I think, because a Sphinx blocks, goes to 14, takes 13. You know what I'm saying? Better. Alright, I died. Well, I guess I can heal my I guess I can I don't know, blind draw with my top or something. Alright, both teams fought hard. Um, let's go to game 3. I wish I was on the play with a needle fluster hand. Maybe I'm supposed to have more flusters than I think I really should have. Maybe I am supposed to have more flusters. On the play, we probably don't need. Well, I want to have a repeal in the deck. I want to have a Narset for turn 1. Maybe what do we go? Maybe we put a second fluster in the deck instead of a Night's Whisper. Maybe we're supposed to have 3 flusters in this matchup. It's possible. I could see that being true. What up, Neckfire? Go follow. All right, this is the final game of our eternal weekend. Opal is like kind of a hard sell into Force of Vigor and Mindbreak Trap. Maybe we kind of want it on the play though. I'm in. You've sold me on boarding my mocks back in. Well, you get to watch one game live. Congratulations. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I don't know. I'm kind of on my autopilot. I'm not thinking too much about it. Yeah, but it doesn't draw me anything 0. There's no active outs. My only active out in that situation is a balance, but I have to have the mana to cast balance, so I conceded instead of wasting my time. And your time. Alright, on the play. Let's do it. Final game. Yeah, that's the one. Keep. No, but you're not drawing 2 cards. You're only drawing 1 card because your repeal has to draw your top. You're only drawing 1 new card. So I'm gonna go Needle here. It's more powerful than the Ancestral. Though the downside of Needle is if we do successfully resolve the Needle, they might wasteland our Tundra. Oh, repeal first? I don't know. Maybe there is a way. It's fine. You might be right. It's possible. For Helix. I think we played earlier this weekend. Hope you had a good weekend. Exhale. Okay, so they have a vigor. We've got a force. We didn't play into trap, so we can't get trapped. Beautiful. Nice, Dan, you top 8. Let's go. That's great. Congrats. Okay. So they would have had to have drawn negation for this ancestral on our turn to be bad. So I'm down to cast it here. We really need to hit land drops. All right, this is perfect. Yeah, this should be a win. Oh, I guess I need to get. So I'm gonna vamp for not a mana crypt. So I have to vamp for a soul ring. Soul ring. So this actually leaves me susceptible to getting my vigor. I guess this can get countered. I guess they might have mental misstep. I would almost want them to mental misstep this so that I can fluster. No, it doesn't actually be true. I wonder if I'm supposed to wait. I'm probably supposed to wait, actually. This fluster protects me from vigor, and then next turn I can play demonic with tinker with fluster backup. I barely remember the academy tournament. It's like a fever dream or something. Oh, we drew a four. I guess it doesn't change anything. We're probably actually supposed to go. Oh, we boarded out Citadel, huh? I was gonna say we're probably supposed to go out Citadel here, but we don't have a Citadel on our deck, so. Oh, they have a force misdirection. Fluster. Maybe we are supposed to play a bunch of Fluster Storms. I kind of probably undervalued this card. Sometimes it's really clunky. All right, so they have no answers for this Sphinx, and they hopefully shouldn't be able to erase it. So this should just be game. Next turn will. Oh, they have an answer to the Sphinx. Ah, I didn't think about that. Wow. Okay. We don't have a strip mine, but we do have another needle. This is not pro. I'm not pro Mazavith, unfortunately. I DT'd for the needle. I don't want to get trapped, actually. Kind of annoying. They might trap this, I guess. Alright, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I'm supposed to wait until the next turn. Ah, that was probably bad. That was probably a misplay. So they need to draw Force of Vigor and a green card in the next 2 draw steps. 'Cause this clocks really quickly. They're at 12 life. Maybe I am really supposed to play just a bunch of Flusterstorms. You went 0-1 to 9-1? What a god. We got Dan. We got both data collectors in the top 8. Wow. Incredible. Alright, I didn't think about this Mazavith, but that does make me reevaluate some things in my life. They drew Vigor? No. I was about to say, there's no way. Looks like we're gonna win the final game. Sphinx had a great weekend. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Frig. We're not gonna win the final game. They did draw Vigor. Oh, no. Alright, chat. Hold on. This is bad. I need to find a Force of Will. Opponent opponent drew no creatures, huh? Yikes. Okay. Force of Will. Well, I just expected them. So I don't think it's correct for them to do this now. If they had a Force of Vigor, I think they were supposed to do it in my upkeep because I only have 1 card. It's not as likely for me to have Force of Will. No. Oh, wow. Okay, this is a clock though. I guess this is also a clock. Oh, I can't play the opal though because of the chalice. Right? We might lose this game. Wait, can they? Oh, and they can fog their own creature? Well, it's going to be hard for them to go super wide. Okay, this is weird. Okay, this is an interesting game. We need to find another land drop to play our Lavinia. But once we play the Lavinia, it's crazy. I might have lost because I didn't hold back that Gataxian probe, to be honest. That Gataxian probe was really bad. The really bad problem was probably maybe we aren't supposed to board out Citadel. Maybe we're supposed to play both. God, they can churn looking for squeeze now. Yeah. So they found a squee off of their Once Upon a Time. A land and a time walk. I guess that's true. So I draw the Lavinia. I spin. Okay. We can resolve Lavinia. We have to be favored to win this game, right? All right, down to 1 card, pitching squee. So they can't have force. No, they drew Wasteland. Oh no. Wow. That's a good draw. Now they can activate Bizarre End Step, try to find more squeeze. Wow, the Wasteland draw was critical for them. That was a critical draw. 2 squeeze. They found 2 squeeze. Oh, we're going to get buried. I called Kiji too early. You're right. They just had second green. They cast 2 Force of Vigors. You know how hard it is to cast 2 Force of Vigors in this deck? There are not that many green cards. It's pretty wild, to be honest. All right, we got a game, though. I don't know. I feel like we're actually not in a great position right now. The amount of third squee, wow. The amount of card advantage is incredible. Am I supposed to fetch a non-basic here? No, I have to be able to fetch an island, I think. 2 wastelands left in their deck. Squee goes back in their hand every upkeep. Yogg-Will would be good, but this Chalice is ruining me. Ruining me. Oh, that's a really bad shuffle. I think we're gonna lose. Alright, found a Tundra. Okay. It might just be a turn too late, though, is the problem. Like, opponent's gonna get 3 squeeze back here, and they might just have Force of Will at that point. Ah, I might have called this too early. I just thought they would definitely do it in the upkeep. Really just thought they would do it in the upkeep. Alright. Look how many cards they have in their hand. They have up to 5 non-squee cards. They can activate Bazaar again. To be fair, they do have to have one of their remaining 2 Forces of Wills to counter this Lavinia. They have 2 Vengevines. That doesn't really matter. They have all 4 squeeze in the yard. Okay, it's all or nothing. It's all on this Lavinia. If this Lavinia resolves, we have a chance. They have to not have one of their remaining 2 Force of Wills. It's unlikely for them to have one of their remaining 2 Force of Wills. They're still... Yes, okay. Alright, that's really good for us. That's the first step. That's the first step. This is a kind of a wild game. Opponent is still going to have incredible card advantage with Squee, but they can't cast any free spells. So they have, it's hard for them to cast spells. Does Montolio's latest list play Dismember? That could be a problem. 6 bug, crazy. I mean, it's unlikely for us to be able to attack with this Lavinia. I guess opponent just needs to play... Oh, they have the Caracas! Wow. They have all the tech cards. I think... Wow. Okay, what if we draw Time Walk, I guess? We know that there's no Time Walk in our top 3. So we should just draw once and then look deeper. I don't want to balance yet. I want to find... This is better. We can balance later. We can balance... We don't need to balance yet. They can't deal 20 damage in 1 turn. This is so much better that we have a Force of Will now. Maybe it's not because they're going to draw too many cards. Maybe I'm too greedy. Maybe I'm too greedy. Well, No, can't they? They need a second maze. If they find their second maze, because then they can untap their own attacker, right? No, that doesn't work. Yeah, they can untap their own attacker if they find their second maze. If there's a second maze, I guess. No, Wasteland. Oh, I was too greedy, chat. I was too greedy. Ah, that's so bad. We should have just gone for the balance. We should have just gone for the balance. Ah, I have no more Tundras. All right, let's see what happens. We're just going to play it all the way through. I don't know what else I can do here, though. I can draw Repeal on the Chalice. but it's unlikely to resolve. So as long as they find a second Maze of Ith in their deck. If they have a second maze, it's all about the maze. Is there a second maze? If yes, the game is over for me, I think. The second Force of Will was just the most brutal thing that ever happened in the world. Not the whole world. Oh, there's a Vengevine is gone. So can they even assemble enough power with I don't if there's no maze. I mean, I assume they have a maze, right? That's why they're still playing. No. No. I assume they have a second maze. So I thought that the Lavinia would be good enough. Yeah, so I definitely should have just cast the balance. It probably would have gotten counterspelled. But at least we could have tried while we still had white mana. I guess opponent found one of their remaining 2 wastelands / strip mines. But I mean, they have almost no cards left in their library at this point, so it makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Did we play greedy at some point though? Like, obviously, I called it too early, but did we play greedy? Did we make a mistake? Do you think we had any choice, any chances besides that? I mean, I think we probably would have won this game if we just kept a Citadel in our deck. Our out is opponent doesn't have a second maze in their deck. That's our only out, I think. Maybe if the maze is their last card. They shouldn't have Contagion in their deck at all. No, they don't play black. Another hollow one. Strip mine. So this is currently 18 damage plus pumps. 21 damage. 20. They're 22 damage right now. So they just need they just need one more creature, right? Yeah, I understand. I understand that we probably should have cast balance. I don't think the balance would have saved us, but we definitely should have cast it, I think. Just for the wasteland. I don't think we can get out of this because as long as they find another creature before they'd mill out, we just lose, I think. Because of the root wall of pumps. They can just attack, prevent. We didn't know, so we might have still gone for Sphinx. They had a pretty full grip. Wait, what did they vigor? Did they vigor after our Tinker or before Tinker? Did we had a force? I think we had a legitimate Citadel kill, but we just didn't have Citadel in our deck. So it just didn't work. I don't know, whatever. Well, I mean, I have no more game actions that I can take in this game. Like, I legitimately have no more game actions that are relevant, so. A nice thing is that Chalice stopped the Memnites. There are no cards that I can draw that will impact the game. I have no agency in this game anymore. Game 3. It's about opponent. So what opponent has to do is go wide enough to either deal 30 damage at once or to deal 24 damage and maze their own attacker to prevent the damage from Sphinx. I think that's how maze works. Prevent all damage that would be dealt. Yeah. Oh, they found it. They found a root wall off of that activation. That's game. As long as they understand. Well, wait, no. They need another land. Okay, they found another land as well. Oh, and they found a hollow one. Okay, so we just die. Okay. That's unfortunate. Yeah, wow. They were able to actually amass a large enough board because of Riftstone Portal, actually. Riftstone Portal is the reason. Because would this have been enough without Riftstone Portal? Because this is 20. It'd be 1 damage short without Riftstone Portal. I guess they could attack twice. That's true. Yeah, that's true. They can just attack twice. That's true. They can just attack twice, so maybe it didn't matter. Whatever, sure. Yeah, I don't know if we could have. They had a second maze. They found their so they had two mazes too. Okay, we should probably. I mean, opponent had 4 squeeze really early, and I guess we double vigored the needle. I'm trying to think about how I'm trying to reevaluate if this is a problem. If people are actually playing Mazavith and not only Montolio, were we actually supposed to not to board this way? Maybe we shouldn't have. The second creature didn't matter. Yeah, I probably should have forced one of the creatures. Well, the problem is if I force the creature, they still have 23, so I lose a life from that. So if I force the creature, they still have enough. It's because they were always short 1 before these creatures. I guess they would have to have a second creature, but yeah, you're totally right. I probably should just force or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't really. What a way to go. What a way to go. Lightsteel would have won this game. Maybe Sphinx isn't good enough against HollowVine, but it was really good against HogakVine. So, I mean, Sphinx definitely had a great weekend besides this exact moment, but yeah, we probably missed the balance. I'm aware. But we didn't have a force on top when we balanced. That's why that's why I didn't balance. I didn't balance because I wanted to look at my top 3 cards. And I found a force, so then on the next turn we could have balanced with force backup. But they found the wasteland to kill our tundra, so we ended up getting punished. Yeah, I mean, I think if we had a Citadel in our deck, we would have won this game, or a Blightsteel in our deck, we would have won this game. But this is the first time the Sphinx is costing us. Every other time, Sphinx has probably won some games that we couldn't win. So, but I think there's definitely been times where I kept both in. So all right, GG's. Opponent played well. Opponent played really well. I was hoping to go 7-3, but that's going to be a whiff for me. And we're dead. Yeah. To be fair, I didn't really think about I mean, we almost had Maze covered. They actually had to find second Force of Vigor, which they did find, so they actually had to have 2 Force of Vigors to win that game, and they did have 2, so it was a cool game though. It was a good way to end. It was a good way to end the weekend. 10-0. We got Dan in the top 8. We got Ayla in the top 8. And this is great. Looks like oh, you beat Brian Koval. Brian might still break her in. We got Thim 8-2. Bryant Cook is 8-2. Joe is 8-2. Echo 8-2. Why are there so many more 8-2s than normal? Wait, where'd the 10-0 go? What's going on? Why is the 10-0 down here? What is happening? Did going 10-0 break the sorting algorithm? Yo, going 10-0 definitely broke the sorting algorithm. That's hilarious. Oh, that was you, Montolio? Oh, okay. I was wondering why they had all your tech. I was like, HollowVine players don't play Maze. Only Montolio plays Maze. I jinxed myself so early in that, Andy. I thought for sure I was dead. I thought for sure you were dead because You didn't force of vigor in my upkeep. You force of vigored in attack steps. And I figured if you had force of vigor, you would have done it in upkeep to play around like me having extra blue cards for force of will. Because I had a blue card and I could spin for force of will. So I thought for sure you didn't have a second vigor, and I was like, all right, we got there. Because I was so scared because of that maze. Yeah, I mean, it worked out because I think if I knew it was you, Andy, I think if I knew it was you, I probably would have kept in Citadel, but I didn't think it was you, so I didn't even bother keeping in Citadel, so I went for Sphinx. I mean, Sphinx might even still be right there. You had to have a second vigor for the needle because I had DT, but I don't know. I definitely regretted not having a strip mine. Yeah, I think for the most part, Sphinx has been just incredible for me all weekend. Most Bazaar decks have no, or most Hogak and HollowVine decks have no answer to it. All right, I mean, it was a great game, and you played, perfectly to your end goal. I wish you had how many how many did you have a force on the turn before? I don't know if you'll remember. Did you have a force on the turn before you played a wasteland on my last tundra? Because I had a balance that I chose not to cast. I instead chose to spin my top looking to try to find a force, which was probably greedy. I mean, I assume you had something. I just don't know how much you had. All right. Anyways, GG's. Let me just quick shout out. Thank you, everyone. It's been an incredible weekend. We have streamed for almost 30 hours. I have played 30 rounds of Magic on stream. We've averaged over 200 viewers for most of the weekend, which has been just incredible. At some point last night before we top 8'd, we were the number one viewed Magic the Gathering stream. Which I could never, if you told me that even last week, I would not have believed you. So I just want to shout everyone out and say thank you for all the support. Everyone, it's been super, super fun, super crazy. Yeah, if you like what you see and you want to see more vintage, I stream vintage. So follow the Twitch channel, subscribe on YouTube. There's more vintage coming. I suspect there will be more of these premier level events with God accounts in the future. So when those things happen, come back and watch. Until then, let's find a nice place, nice home for you. And I'm gonna go find some food and some beer and do a little celebration for completing this because it was kind of a marathon for me and I'm losing my mind. Yo. Congratulations to Cat Moozy and thanks Thorn for the gifted sub. We had so many subs this weekend, so many views. I really, really appreciate it. Let's see. I don't think anybody is on who has a chance of top 8ing. Doesn't look like it. I will be doing the data. I just need to go get food and beer Tuesday. We'll do the data for sure. Let's go find you guys an Eternal streamer to watch. Oh, Anzi. I gotta return the favor. That's an easy one. I'm gonna go send you guys to Honorog. I think Honorog's probably playing Legacy tonight. Obviously another great Eternal streamer. So go show your support to Honorog. And like I said, I hope everyone had fun because I certainly had tons of fun this weekend. And it was made more fun because I had so many people hanging out. So thank you everybody who hung out today this weekend. Have a good night.